Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Our session became pretty thin. The session has a title, Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare. As far as I know, we have just 2 presentations, but let's just believe that the audience will be more extensive than 2 presenters. Thank you for being here. The session is a part of the Priority Research Area, POB1, in our university. And let me just introduce the first speaker. And the first speaker is Dr. Ziemowit Ostrowski from Hemolens Diagnostics. And the speech is Arm in Arm, AI and Computational Modeling are shaping future of healthcare decision making. Doctor, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, the audience. I have the pleasure to share with you some insights how the AI, together with computational modeling, can be used to enhance the decision-making in cardiovascular disease. As Madam Ambassador of UK today told us, it's very important to implement those techniques, these new techniques, both robotics and computational tools, to enhance diagnosis, to enhance treatment, and to make both physician and patient satisfied. So I will talk about the AI and computational modeling. And we will talk about the models, and I will start with some quote, some motto. I hope that we will use those useful ones, and we do believe that we can use those models that are and will be useful. Why? Why we choose the cardiovascular area? Because it's the cardiovascular disease is #1 cause of death worldwide. That's the fact. That's the most important issue to deal with that disease. What's more important even, that nowadays in cardiovascular disease diagnosis and treatment, there is over half of the invasive angiograms are false positives, so they do not lead into the PCI, into the percutaneous interventions. So it means that they might be, maybe there is another tool that can avoid those unnecessary invasive procedures that are, of course, not good for patients to treat them. Why this is key issue? The patient is one issue, but the other issue is that there is a growing gap between the physicians and needs of the market. And it is anticipated that in coming years, this gap will even grow. So if we can avoid some unnecessary invasive procedures, we can fill partially this gap. And what we do, what we propose, how we can fill this rising gap of lack of physicians, of the tremendous amount of needed procedures that we perhaps will not be able to fill without new methods. We propose the in silico approach. So we in the Hemolens Diagnostics company, we try to combine 3 main areas: the deep learning and artificial intelligence. Mostly nowadays it's to segment medical images. We use the segmentation from computed tomography, angiography. We use it also to check and precondition the other physiological signals, like a pressure, changing pressure in measured changing pressure. We use biomedical engineering. That's tools of treatment of signals and to provide proper boundary conditions for numerical simulations that we do as a numerical modeling, computational fluid dynamics, to simulate the blood flow and estimate the pressure changes in the arteries. So we combine those two and we take what's the best from each of the parts to provide a nice product that can help physicians, that can help patients. I will go through and show you where we use it. There is an entry-level product, Cardiolens Viewer, that's a kind of web-based platform for cardiologists and radiologists to analyze CCTA, coronary computed tomography angiography images. And what we provide is segmented arteries that can be easily reviewed in web browser. Those segmented arteries can be aligned with angiographic projections, so doctors can see what they will see in a room. We can turn on, of course, the volume rendering, and we can allow a quick evaluation along the center lines, along the curved arteries, and we can synchronize all those views together to make easier reading of the computed tomography. In the end, we can, of course, take standard measurements like diameters or whichever measurement doctor can imagine by those simple tools. On any part of the screen you can use it. And finally, we can produce a report, and it will, I think, be shown in a moment. So that's the entry-level product that can help to analyze pre-segmented arteries in the beginning. So here we for sure use deep machine learning for models of segmentation of vessels. We also use those models for segmentation of plaque, and I will show it to in the next slides. So finally, there is a nice report available. Okay, that's the only images, analyzing images only. Now let's step towards a kind of functional analysis. Invasive fractional flow reserve method, it's done during the coronary angiography when you insert the catheter and then insert the pressure transducer, and you have to measure the pressure downstream, distal to the stenosis, and the pressure in aorta, the proximal to the stenosis. And that's the FFR, that's the ratio between the distal pressure and proximal pressure. And if it drops below 0.8, then the patient is qualified for angioplasticity or for a next treatment, invasive one. And what we do is, instead of doing it invasively, we segment the vessels, we do the computer simulations, the blood flow simulations inside the vessel, we compute the pressure drops, and then we directly can compute the FFR index. That seems easy, but it's not so easy because there is a distal pressure here. That's the pressure in aorta. And that's the patient specific for sure. That goes directly to this formula. That's one. important issue, but it also determines the flow conditions in coronary arteries. So this pressure is used in our approach. We measure it non-invasively as a radial pressure, then we transfer it to the central one. We change the signal to mimic how it looks in the central pressure signal. Then we solve a set of equations describing the cardiovascular system. Then we find the flow, because the flow, how much flows in the coronary artery is directly proportional to the pressure drop in the stenosis. So there are two important factors: proper segmentation to have a good approximation of stenosis region and whole artery tree, coronary artery tree, and then we have to know how much blood is flowing. So that by combining those methods with sophisticated measurements of the pressure changes, the waveform of the pressure gives us some boundary conditions, and then we can compute the fractional flow reserve index. Then finally it is displayed, of course, in a screen that is similar to the previous one. Those screens are integrated in one common platform. You can determine the fractional flow reserve in any place, in any point of the coronary tree. That's another advantage, because when you are doing this invasively, you have the point-only value. You put the pressure transducer and you can measure it only in one place. Of course, there are some procedures with the pullback when you measure the pressure when you are taking the pressure sensor out, but that's not so common. So now, finally, of course, we can produce the report as well. And let me say, what's important? The important thing is to properly classify patients as positive or negative. But what's even more important, to be good in this classification, that's the binary classificator. Below 0.8, it's positive, over, it's negative. So how the model will behave in neighborhood of that border. That's the most important part. That's the most hard part. And what we managed to achieve in our approach is, we call it gray zone. That's the gray zone, it's around 0.8, on the left and the right of the 0.8. That's the border of positive, negative. And our solution is about 10 percentage points above the mean level of diagnostic accuracy in the same region of the products that are already on the market. That's based on meta-analysis data. So that's where it matters the most, the accuracy in that region. It's not hard, it is maybe, but it's not so hard to determine really healthy people and very diseased. The gray zone is the target, and we are in that region. We achieve a very nice result. What's coming soon? And so those two products, this viewer and FFRCT, will be launched next year. The certification is right in a moment, both in Europe, in MDR, and both in United States. And the next product will be the plaque. That's the analysis of arteriosclerotic plaque, both the size, its density, and the morphology. We will provide some information about the analysis of the plaque, with distinguishing the calcified plaque, fatty plaque, low attenuation plug and others. So that's the another product. So that's the idea. What our company is combining those three legs: AI, biomedical engineering, and computational fluid dynamics. And we want to assist physician from the diagnosis to treatment. We propose a paths to use the relatively low non-invasive measurement like CT is. That's become more and more popular. The CCTA, the coronary artery CT, is nowadays in regulations of European Cardiac Society and both American Cardiac Society. It's a recommended tool, and it will be used more and more often. And this software will help us to fill this gap to the need to diagnose non-invasively. Those products will go in one common platform, the viewer, FFRCT, then will be the plug, and then we plan the strategies which can allow doctors to plan the treatment. And we can say that's all. That's not all. If you think 10, 20, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, we were talking about computational modeling. We were talking on in silico medicine. Then, nowadays, we are talking about AI, ML, which also falls into the in silico one. And we should think nowadays that the changes are coming. What's next? In quantum medicine? I don't know how to name it even. But I think that it will come. It will come faster than we think. That's this next step that is coming to us, and that's the challenge for all, for academia and industry, to, again, take the most advantageous tools of new methodology and new technique, new environments, to use them to get better products, better patient treatment, better tools for doctors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ostrowski. Any questions? Moment. We have Dr.
If I may, one question. Your solution heavily depends on the segmentation of the vessels. How do you assess or ensure the segmentation is fine?
That is done on daily basis during the development of the code. We use other modalities like IVUS to measure properly the reference diameters, mostly in stenotic region. And we use the ground truth made by trained physicians, trained operators, to compare the automatic segmentation together with this ground truth using common indexes like DICE index, for example. I should say that for the viewer, for this just analyzing the CT only, we use the fully automatic segmentation. For FFRCT, there is a partially work of the trained engineer to check if the stenotic regions are really properly segmented. And that's still a partially human biological hand taking some measurements, not measurements, changes in the segmented geometry. So that for sure for certification there are also different measures, mostly based on dice coefficient, but in this particular place, we know that the dice favorize the big structures. And then this small region with small stenotic luminaria will be lost in this measure, like dice. So then we introduce some measurements in stenotic, like minimum luminaria, and the correlation with the other modalities, like IVUS or OCT. Yep.
Maybe one more question, or I don't know. Is it even possible to make a phantom so we know the structure because we have designed it, I don't know, by 3D printing or whatever, then make it CT scan and then evaluate the software? Is it done like this in the industry or not?
In theory, yes, it can be done. It can be measured even in this university with the labs that are here. The problem, yeah, it's not cost effective. That's one, but then of course it will be evaluated on a. We can mimic flows like in coronary arteries, but it will be something around. We validate the products like FFRCT on measurements, clinical trials, comparing this with the gold standard, which is invasive FFR. And that's validated against this for certification and to prove the doctors that it works fine. That's against the tool that they use invasively now. So that's more profitable. That's something that will make both regulatory agencies and doctors believe that the method works. Yeah.
Professor had a question?
The flow is oscillatory, but if I'm not mistaken, you treat it as a steady state flow. Is it so?
We are doing the simulations in steady state, but we combine several different flows, levels of the flow, to mimic the mean flow, and in effect, mean pressure drops, because when you measure it invasively, you also don't compute the FFR by time instant. It's a mean of several heartbeats. So you have the mean distal pressure, mean proximal pressure, and we do the same in the fact that we produce a mean pressures.
And how about the changes of the geometry within the heart cycle?
As to our tests and simulations, it's not so important. It does not influence a lot to the pressures that we are computing, or even FFR, because FFR is our quantity of interest, and we validate against the changes in this value. There are also numerous publications, also from this university. You know those publications, yours ones and ours ones, that shows that this oscillatory flows is not or changes in geometry in time does not influence a lot for a pressure field.
It has not been published yet in our case. We did the calculations, but we didn't publish
Conference
it so
for
far.
sure.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
More questions? We have one.
I have one question
Yep.
about integration. can you integrate for now your solutions with, for example, hospital IT systems, or it's for now only independent, and so how it works in basically in real?
Okay. We have the integration for PACS systems to send the images to the system, and then it's working as a software as a service in cloud.
Okay.
But yes, there is a we are working the integration gate to upload the DICOMs or take it out of the PACS systems. It's provided.
For your solutions, you need only the image data. So PACS system is enough for you. You don't need to integrate with his system.
Depending on the product.
Okay.
Because for viewer plaque analysis, yes, that's the only DICOMs.
Mm-hmm.
For FFR, we need this pressure measurement, additional pressure measurements, and we provide the additional gate or something that the physicians can upload the measured data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe one more question, if available. No. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Now let me change the place because the second presentation will likely be done by me. That's the thing. All right, thank you. And the speech will be on AI in child speech analysis. Some of you attended the Jubilee session in the morning, and you probably heard Dr. Kręcichwost, who said something about his team and the research they've done. I will go a little deeper here from the point of view of the AI involved in the analysis of the data. Before I do that, let me just mention several benefits, possible benefits of using AI in speech therapy that are mentioned here, but there are certainly some objectivity level we can increase, we can raise, definitely, because still the speech therapy, speech diagnosis is highly subjective, done by the speech pathologists. We can use the AI tools, or in general computer-aided tools supported by the AI or built over the AI, to some training of less experienced speech-language pathologists. We can automatize the screening tests and therefore make the diagnosis more available, especially in the first step. That is somehow automatic, but also enables both the pathologists and the patients to then have some background before they start any consultations. And definitely it enables some personalization of the therapy and diagnosis. Most of the information I will provide today is related to a specific project that I had the pleasure to lead in the 5 years between 2019 and 2024 in the Sonata Bees competition of the National Science Center in Poland. The research team consisted of 4 biomedical engineers and 2 speech-language pathologists, which definitely pointed out at some interdisciplinary character of the project. I will start with the data acquisition device before I go into the AI issues, the AI aspects here. Probably this visualization was already available on the screen with Michał's speech. This was the first idea, how to try to trace the outflow of the air during mispronunciation of some phonemes. Of course, it needed some electronics to work, so then it looked like that. It was tested on a lot of kids, mostly from the family without any knowledge of the bioethics committee. But then finally, it became a little bit more structured. As you can see, in most of the cases, it relied on the acquisition of the spatially distributed signal. So let's say some sparsely probed, sparsely sampled microphone array with in the ultimate structure with 15 microphones in the 3 arches. And you can see these in 2 in two versions in this slide, with the so-called closed construction and then with the open construction. The open construction, yeah, very simple reason for removing the stuff. If you want to put something like that on the head of the 5 or 6 year old child, it will better not weigh like 5 kilograms. So we fought like for every gram to decrease the weight. If you look from the inside to the device, to the data acquisition device, you can see 3 arches with a total of 15 microphones right there. They are pointed with those red numbers, and also in the most recent version of the device, we had also 2 cameras. The 2 cameras that allow us to capture the video stream from 2 points, 2 angles, and enable some basic stereoscopic analysis. Nothing really impressive. If you look at the parameters, we have 44 kilohertz sampling frequency and a VGA resolution of 640 times 480 and 30 frames per second. For this study, it was enough. In the current project, Michał leads and the team still develops. They are going wider with the equipment. They try to increase the resolution and so on. On the other hand, as far as I know, the spatial distribution of the microphones is not the key area at this moment. It took like 10 years of research to state that this is not the crucial factor in the child speech analysis, in the speech analysis in general. Okay, now let me say a few words about the child speech data set that we collected. That was one of the main goals of the project because the availability of such data sets is highly limited. If you have the speech corpora, the speech data sets, they are mostly based on adult speech, sometimes adolescent speech. The area also highly depends on the language, of course. So for our study, for Polish children, we aimed at a lot of recordings, at a lot of diagnoses to collect the data and then to publish it. So let me go through it for a while. We ultimately published the data, the records from 201 kids aged, let's say, 4 to 8. The data have been collected between 2021 and 2023, right after COVID. We planned to start in 2020, but unfortunately you cannot go to the kindergarten with your people and with your devices if everyone stays at home. So we had a significant delay. After all, in the database, the average age was something about 6.5 years, 6 years and 4 months, as far as I remember, with mostly 5 and 6 year old children from 6 different units, preschools and early school units in 4 cities here, around here in the area, in the Silesia region. That's a pretty huge database. I will come back into it a little bit later. Each child was recorded during a specifically designed session with a specifically designed protocol, which consisted of 3 parts. The first one was the picture test, so the child has seen on the screen some images, and its goal was to name them. Their goal was to name them. Then we had the repetition test because there were some words that were too tough for the children to name on the pictures. We had some Polish words that have some nice characteristics, nice properties from the point of view of speech therapy, but the Polish children would rather not know the word Raja if they see a guy from India with a turban on the screen. Therefore, we had some words that the children had to repeat. We had also a series of speech exercises, and finally, the pure speech-language pathology examination made by 2 different pathologists in 2 different time points, right? So one pathologist was present during the recording session, and the other came the other day alone without the recording. The first 2 parts were recorded. Each of them produced like not more than 2 minutes of a recording with those 2 cameras and 15 microphones. Yeah, I have the speech corpus here for all Polish speakers. You can see some words. For example, those green ones are the ones that we consider not simple enough for the children to repeat, like this Raja, Paś, Łodzie, whatever. It turned out that also these blue words, some of them were pretty challenging for the children, but never mind, that are some things that maybe I can discuss later a little bit. And also we have these speech examination questionnaires filled by two different experts, speech and language pathology experts, with a lot of descriptions of anatomical and functional assessment of articulators, some pronunciation assessment, some physiology also there. We had some closed and also closed questions and descriptive fields. And finally, almost 200 different fields that then have been introduced into the database. At the end, we limited some information. In the beginning, we rather took it with some margin. Finally, yeah, you can see some first pages of this. Some information turned out not to be that important. And finally, we had those recordings. And there you can see the video stream acquired during the recording. One important issue here is that the lips are actually in at the fixed position thanks to the establishment of the device on the head. Yeah, last week we got the right and perfect message from the scientific data journal that our database has been published, so it's now available already. All those 30 plus gigabytes of data are available, and on the second day we already had some inquiry from the United States to access the data, because the data is made on request, so that is very nice for us. You can also use it. We have all the data, we have all the dictionary descriptions, we also have all the CSV files, the tables that describe actually everything in a relational way in the database. Okay, so we have the data, and now let's go to some AI. I will show you two of some slight methods, some modular methods that have been introduced here for different purposes. The first one is the video analysis for the object detection, and finally the image segmentation of the articulators, which then turned out to be useful in some feature extraction and the analysis, the comparison of the articulation and acoustics, and also the video data. So what we did here was, after the pre-processing, we applied the object detection using one of the yellow models. You only loop once. The sixth version turned out to be the most efficient for this purpose. Right now the yellow is like 11 years old, so not years, but the recent yellow has number 11. So that's a pretty well-established object detector. And our goal was to detect three different objects: the lips, the teeth, and the tongue, that are labeled here in Polish. I have some examples of the work of this, and it was the first step to more accurately segment those objects a little bit later. So we applied this to the video stream, to all the frames of the words. Actually, we didn't treat the entire 2-minute recording with this. And in the second step, another portion of the AI, we had the deep model called the DeepLab V3 Plus, ultimately with the exception backbone, which was used in a 3-step process to perform a reliable segmentation model, and another again to get those three objects: the lips, the teeth, and the tongue, and ultimately the union of them all, the sum of them all, that we called the mouth. Okay, again, some examples with the words jockey and the word koza, which is the goat, greatest of all time, right. I have just a few results. The results of the segmentation are given here, with the ultimate final segmentation results of this 3-step pipeline given here, with the indices with medians over 0.83 in all three all three basic organs, and with the mouth it went even higher because it's way easier to delineate the entire mouth. All right, we had it, and then it was used to extract a lot of features, 2D shape features and textural features, which then could be compared and crossed with all the other data available in the database. We also went further. We tried to get some 3D features, but with the third dimension not being the third dimension in space, but being time. So we caught 3 or 4 frames, for example, with those 30 FPS sampling rate, and then try to collect them and also get some better or worse known features from the point of view of textural and shape analysis. And then Dr. Agata Sage, it was her PhD thesis, got a lot of analysis of the features extracted here, crossed with the different articulation features like dentality, dentalization, interdental, and other stuff that were extracted from the database, from the questionnaires. But since this is not the pure AI, and my topic here is AI in child speech analysis, just let me finish this part here. And the second area, the second motive here I want to mention is the spatial acoustic analysis. Remember that we have something that we can visualize this way, like a 5x3 array of microphones with all the signals captured simultaneously. And this is Michał's PhD, on the other hand, so a little bit earlier stuff. What Michał did was he took the filter bank energy maps, which is kind of a spectrogram representation of the signal. So you have the frequency versus time versus frequency with some energies reflected in the subbands of the spectrum. What he did was he first calculated the derivative in time, so horizontally, with some weighting in the time window, in the time frames, and got the delta FBE, so the derivative of the filter bank energy, and then he repeated the stuff and got the second derivative of the FBE. That was the first thing. After some interpolation to secure the constant, the fixed size of those images, he went into collecting these three maps by putting them into different chromatic channels of the newly created image, and he created something that for us can look like an image with the information hidden in different channels taken from the original FBE, the delta FBE, and delta delta FBE. He did that because then he fed his model with the data, and we know a lot of deep models that can treat appropriately the chromatic image data. But since we had like 15 of such data sources, he investigated a lot of combinations of potential aggregation of those maps. So imagine that each signal for each word, for example, produces one color image for you. So if you have like 15 such maps, you can concatenate them into the four-dimensional structure. And that's what he actually did. There was one idea, so you have like time versus frequency versus the three different features versus the 15-channel signal, 15-channel collection of signals, actually. The other idea was to try to aggregate these signals in columns. So you have the central column and also the middle left, middle right, and left and right, let's say. So you had also four-dimensional data in 5 channels. And also he tried to investigate the central channel only because still we believe that the microphone that is ahead of the mouth provides the most important data and maybe sufficient data. A spoiler, from all the analysis, indeed the central microphone is a very good source of data. But in this study, it turned out that taking such a model, a multi-branch model that used convolutional layers for time domain, dedicated for time domain, for frequency domain, and also some mixed ones. So you differently analyze the data and then concatenate it and use some fully connected layer structure. He was able to prove that the 5-channel structure, the 5-channel architecture provided the most robust data. The best data too. Yeah, I didn't mention the goal here. The ultimate goal of this part of the study was to classify the speech patterns into the normative and atypicals, like different types of dental or interdental or abdental as defined by speech pathologists. Yeah, we had some experiments on the parameters, the ablation study, on the size of the kernel, on the model width, on the model depth, and also on the optimizers. And the Michał's PhD contains all the results on all the analysis there. Yes, if you look at all these data, one of the results, one of the outcomes of the project was the 4-dimensional speaker model. With the stereoscopic analysis, you can get the cloud of points. Then you can texture the cloud of points and use it to present something like that, which might be useful for the pathologists. Still, the low resolution is visible, and please treat it as the starting point for the further research of the team. They now are having some better stuff for recording, but the tools are already available at this point. Yeah, please feel invited to visit the Speech and Hearing and Speech Research Lab on the first floor of HTIC, where the team is performing acoustic signal acquisition, the speech and language therapy with the SLPs, the speech and language pathologists, some audiological examination and acoustic tests. This is also the slide Michał already shown you. Yeah, he's very proud. They are very proud, and I am also very proud of this place, which is prepared at the first place for the children, which were our main patients, our main subjects of the study, at least in the project I mentioned. The team has finished three projects already. You got them in blue. 2 of them are starting or in progress. Zuzana's Sonata project is now like 1 year old, and Michał started in October. So it's like 1 week since the beginning, and the latter seems to be the one that has a chance to end on the market, because it's leader program, it's the NCBR program, and the company is involved. So we believe that this computer scanner, speech therapy scanner, has a chance to go to the market, and finally, after if it's 2029, after almost 15 years from finishing the studies right here from the guys, can be a product ready to go. Yeah, there's also another project that waits for the results of the competition. And that would be it. So thank you. I'm here for you if you have any questions. And Dr. Juszczyk will be the moderator now, right? Thank you. You have a question. Okay.
Yes. How many prototypes you develop each other of your mask to reach the last one? Because as I remember, that is the very long way, and
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I wouldn't want to take the props for the stuff that mostly Michał did, but as far as I know, all the crucial versions of the device are here. So that was the one I've seen the first time, right? Then a lot of cables here with all this. Oh my God, if we would show it to the bioethics committee, I don't know. Then we had this one with all those elements, and finally we went into those 2 that are pretty similar, especially in terms of the architecture of the sensors. So it was 5. If you skip this one, it's 5. But I don't have the picture of the current one, but it really looks like future AI, super duper stuff.
So yeah, if I can give one.
You've seen it.
Yes, because for me it's very impressive, because you start from the paper stripes.
Yeah, paper stripes.
And between these paper stripes and just only 2 cameras, yes, for in the last one solution, we have many very different solutions, but for now it's very light and very light construction. So
this was, I think,
very impressive.
It was 2015, I think, and I would say that the first use of this one was 2021, when we first time went to the kindergartens. So 6 years. yeah, still a lot of time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So now I just have to close the session. Thank you for being here. And I hope we'll see you tomorrow also on the other sessions. Thank you so much.